So recently I subbed this guy on YouTube for a video he made about the transgender community. He later put up this follow-up video which I thought would be interesting to respond to. The link will be in the description for both videos. I also thought it would be appropriate to do so considering my channel is about education, discussion, and the pursuit of knowledge. I'm happy to help anyone who wants to know more. Enjoy.
Number 1. Can someone be both transgender and transsexual? And is there a difference between the two?
Yes. Transgender means that the person experiences gender dysphoria, or that they otherwise do not feel that their gender identity conforms to their biological sex. Transsexual means the person isn't the biological sex they were born as. That meaning that they've had sexual reassignment surgery.
Number 2. Is being transgender subjective to one's own personal interpretation of themselves? What I mean by that is, if I say I'm transgender, does anybody have the right to tell me that I'm not? If it's only a mental construct, can I be, for example, transgender one day if I feel like it? If my mind feels like it wants to be transgender that day?
You're usually only transgender if you experience gender dysphoria, a condition that causes people to experience discontent or depression from being a gender they do not identify with. This stuff doesn't come and go overnight usually, but it's conceivable that that might happen. I should point out though, people who feel like they switch genders are better described as genderqueer or bigender.
No. Also, as an extension to that question, is there any way to tell if someone's really transgender? If so, how?
The only way to objectively tell is the person has to qualify for a formal diagnosis of having gender dysphoria.
Question number 3. Can the no true Scotsman fallacy be applied to transgender lifestyle? Like, basically, is there any legitimate way someone can say that person isn't really transgender?
See my answer to question 2.5.
Question number 4. Are there any systematic forms of oppression that the transgender community face in the Western world?
I personally feel unqualified to answer this question as I have done very little research on the topic. I apologize. Please understand.
Question number 5. If I was to commit a crime, per se, and I claim in court to be a transgendered woman, should I be able to serve my prison sentence in a female prison?
Not unless you are also transsexual. As I understand it, the main purpose for separating genders in prisons is similar to bathrooms. It's about your current physiology.
Number 6. Is it wrong to classify a hermaphrodite as a real trans person? I might actually, just then I might have pronounced that word wrong, hermaphrodite, hermaphrodite. I've only really seen it written, so I don't know how to pronounce it. But is it okay to refer to those type of people as being legitimate, actual transgender people?
Theoretically, the terms cisgender and transgender do not apply to intersex or hermaphroditic people properly. It's specific to every case, really.
Number 7. If I'm out in public and I come across a transgendered person, should I just avoid pronouns completely? You know, like sir, miss, him, her, he, she, la la la. Or is it okay to refer to them as the gender that they present themselves as until they possibly correct me?
You should probably just ask, but I see little wrong with having them correct you. If you want to steer clear of any confusion or problems, simply use gender-neutral pronouns.
Number 8. Why is the LGBT community accepting this type of feminist, social justice warrior rhetoric to represent the entire community?
In the LGBT community, we make a point about being inclusive and sensitive. Very few people in the community feel that they have any right or grounds to disagree with that, and quite a few actually partake in it, as you have found.
So, do you think the LGBT community will ever take the same steps?
Not unless people like you continue to start these important conversations and discussions.
Number 9. How many more letters are you willing to add to LGBTQQA before you just say, okay, this is getting ridiculous?
A lot of us already have. Many LGBT people continue to stop at LGBT or use alternatives like GSM or queer.
Number 10. What is your opinion on Otherkin? You know, people who, for example, think that they share, that they have the mind of a Eastern Chinese panda bear and, you know, just trapped in a human's body. What do you think of those type of people? Is that just a subjective mentality like transgender? Again, no offense.
From what I've read, I've formed a hypothesis that the human body is capable of doing a diagnostics test on itself. If you have a disorder like gender dysphoria or what you just described, your body fails this test every time and you feel uncomfortable. However, keep in mind that these are my own thoughts and hypotheses. I have nothing to back these up, unlike anything I've said until now.
On this question number 11, what reasonable, rational steps can people like myself take to hopefully one day create a more educated and accepting societal culture of your lifestyle?
Ask us, hold these discussions with LGBT people like you are currently doing. We can come to a reasonable agreement on what you can do to improve and educate yourself, and encourage others to do the same. I really appreciate what you're doing and really hope you keep up the good work.
Thanks again to anybody who chooses to reply.
Don't thank me. We should all be thanking you for having the courage to admit that you want to learn. Thank you, sir. Thank you.